The mansion gates were on fire again. Figuratively, by 7 a.m., every gossip reporter in Seoul had gathered outside, holding microphones and flashing cameras like they were at an award show. Drones hovered above the roof, and the air buzzed with the hum of a scandal about to explode. Miss Deborah, are you living with Mr. Kong? Are you using him for money? Is it true you used witchcraft to seduce him? Each question sliced the morning air like a blade. From the balcony, Deborah stood in one of Jun Hyuk's white shirts, sipping coffee with zero care. She looked down at the chaos and muttered, "They act like I killed the president." Behind her, Jun Hyuk was already on the phone. "I want every video taken down, every photo scrubbed. Find who published it." Min-suk nodded sharply. "Yes, sir." Deborah turned to him, calm but sharp. "You can't erase the internet, boss. Trust me. I tried once after a bad haircut." He gave her that quiet look again, the one that mixed frustration and fascination. "You're not taking this seriously." "I am. I'm just not giving it the satisfaction." She set down her cup. "They want me scared. I don't do scared." He stared at her for a long second, then sighed. "Fine. But from now on, don't go out alone." "Wow, bodyguards? Am I a celebrity now?" He didn't answer. Instead, he motioned to Min-suk. "Prepare the car. We're leaving." 30 minutes later, they were cruising through Seoul's morning traffic in a black Maybach with tinted windows. Deborah leaned against the seat, scrolling through her phone. "Look at this comment," she said, laughing. "She's using her hips for black magic. Please, if my hips had power, I'd be running this city." Jun Hyuk pinched the bridge of his nose, trying not to smile. "You enjoy this too much. I enjoy surviving what's meant to destroy me. Big difference." They stopped at a quiet building near the harbor, a private art gallery. As soon as she stepped inside, Deborah's eyes widened. Every wall shimmered with paintings, marble sculptures, and golden light streaming through glass ceilings. "This place is beautiful," she whispered. "It's mine," he said simply. Of course it was. He walked beside her as she admired each piece. One sculpture caught her attention. A woman carved in stone, her body half-wrapped in flowing fabric, her expression fierce and free. "She's gorgeous," Deborah said softly. "She's called Awakening," he replied. "The artist made it after losing everything." Deborah smiled faintly. "You sure this isn't your self-portrait?" He didn't answer, but his eyes softened. For the first time, the silence between them wasn't heavy. It was healing. They sat on a bench facing the sea through the gallery's glass wall. The water shimmered silver, and boats drifted lazily by. Jun Hyuk finally broke the calm. "I can make this go away. The photos, the noise. I just need you to disappear for a while." She turned to him, eyebrows raised. "Disappear? Like a ghost. Stay out of sight until it cools down. So you want me to hide because people are loud?" He hesitated. "I want to protect you." Deborah laughed softly. "You can't protect me from being me." He looked at her, serious again. "You don't understand the world I live in. It doesn't forgive weakness. You're not safe when people connect you to me." She leaned closer. "Maybe I don't want safe. Maybe I want real." Something flickered in his eyes. Fear or longing. She couldn't tell. Before he could reply, Min-suk entered quietly. "Sir, there's a problem." Jun Hyuk stood. "What is it?" "It's Miss Eunbai. She's on TV." Across Seoul, Eunbai sat elegantly on a morning talk show couch, wearing pearls and her sweetest fake smile. Cameras loved her. She knew it. The host leaned forward. "Miss Eunbai, you once dated Mr. Kang Jun Hyuk, correct?" "Yes," she said with a delicate sigh. "We were close. And now he's rumored to be with a foreign woman?" Her smile didn't break. "Yes, I've seen that. I just hope he's not being taken advantage of. He's a kind man, but too trusting." The audience murmured. The host pushed further. "You think this woman's using him?" Eunbai tilted her head. "Let's just say, some people come to our country with hidden motives." The clip spread online within minutes. The comment section exploded again, this time uglier than before. Deborah watched the video in silence. Then she burst out laughing. She called me a scammer on live TV. Oh, this is spicy. Jun Hyuk didn't share her amusement. She's dangerous when she feels replaced. Deborah's smile faded. So what do? We take back the story, he said quietly. That evening, he called a private press conference, no media circus, just one camera, one statement. Deborah stood behind him, watching as he spoke with calm authority. I've built empires from silence, he said. But this time I'll speak. The woman in question did not seduce me, scam me, or use witchcraft. She saved me. From a darkness I didn't even know was still there. The reporters froze. Cameras clicked. He continued, You can write what you want, but understand this. If you try to destroy her, you go through me. It was short but powerful. Within hours, clips of his speech trended everywhere. For the first time, the comments were divided, half mocking, half moved. Later on, Deborah stared at him in disbelief. You just declared war for me on live TV. He shrugged. You said you didn't want safe. She smiled slowly. I didn't say I wanted chaos with fireworks. He leaned closer. Too late. Later that night, while the city buzzed with their story, Deborah sat by the fireplace scrolling through reactions. She saw comments defending her, others praising her boldness, and for the first time, a few calling them beautiful together. She smiled, whispering, Finally, some taste. When Jun Hyuk joined her with 2 glasses of wine, she glanced at him. So, what's next, Mr. Firestarter? He sat down beside her. Next, we make them forget. How? By giving them something else to talk about. She grinned. Now that sounds fun. But while they planned their next move, Eunbai wasn't resting. She stood on the rooftop of her penthouse, watching the city lights flicker below. Her assistant spoke softly. Ma'am. His press statement softened the crowd. Eunbai's lips curved. Then we harden it again. She opened a folder filled with documents, Deborah's visa, work records, even old social posts. Find her weakest point, she said coldly, and break it. The wind howled through the rooftop, carrying her words like a curse. Back at the mansion, Deborah sat by her window, staring at the moon. The night was quiet for once, but something in her chest felt uneasy, like peace before a storm. She whispered, What's the price of being seen? Down the hallway, Jun Hyuk stood by his study window, watching the same moon, wondering the same thing. He didn't know it yet, but Eunbai's next move would hit them harder than any gossip ever could. The morning after the press conference, Seoul felt different. Headlines had softened. Hashtags were still burning, but a new curiosity shimmered through them. The public didn't know whether to hate Deborah or adore her. In the mansion, Deborah sat on the grand staircase scrolling through comments on her phone. Look at this one, she said, laughing. She must be a hypnotist from Nairobi. A hypnotist, really? Across the hallway, Jun Hyuk adjusted his cufflinks, pretending not to smile. You shouldn't feed on gossip. I'm not feeding, she said. I'm seasoning. There's a difference. Min-suk entered with a tablet. Sir, your meeting with the harbor investors starts in 1 hour. Jun Hyuk nodded, then looked at Deborah. Would you like to come? She blinked. To a meeting full of suits and egos? Why not? I love chaos. The conference room at Sky Harbor Tower gleamed with mirrors and marble. Men in tailored suits whispered as Deborah followed Jun Hyuk inside. One investor leaned toward another. That's the girl from the scandal. The other sneered. He brought her here? Bold. Deborah caught their stares and flashed her brightest smile. Don't worry, gentlemen. I only bite when provoked. Silence. Then one brave man coughed into his drink. Jun Hyuk hid a laugh behind his hand as he opened his laptop. Shall we begin? For the next hour, she sat quietly beside him, watching him command the room. His voice was calm steel, numbers, forecasts, decisions. But halfway through, one investor, a gray-haired man named Mr. Park, spoke with a smirk. Mr. Kong, the world is talking about you and your friend. Do you really think investors trust a man distracted by a foreign beauty? Deborah's head tilted slowly. The room held its breath. Before Jun Hyuk could answer, she stood. Sir, If you're scared of a woman's beauty, maybe business isn't your battlefield. A few people gasped. Mr. Park flushed. Excuse me? She smiled sweetly. You're excused. Jun Hyuk bit his lip to hide his grin. Gentlemen, let's return to profits. My companion's confidence doesn't affect the numbers. Only your focus does. When the meeting ended, they walked out side by side. In the elevator, Deborah crossed her arms. Was that too much? He turned to her. No, it was perfect. Then next time, I'll charge for entertainment. Back at the mansion, the mood lightened. The staff, once cautious around her, had started to adore her. She complimented their food, teased the guards, and taught one maid how to walk like a queen, not an extra. By evening, she and Jun Hyuk sat on the terrace watching the city lights blink like stars below. You know, she said, sipping juice, you could have scolded me in that meeting. I enjoyed watching them panic, he replied. She smirked. So you like my chaos? I tolerate it, he said, almost smiling. Same thing. For a moment, the conversation softened. The night breeze brushed through her braids. The sea below whispered secrets against the rocks. Then his phone buzzed. He frowned, reading the message. His jaw tightened. What's wrong? She asked. Customs blocked one of my shipments. Someone's feeding them false data. Who would do that? Someone who knows my routes. She understood immediately. Unbai. He didn't answer, but his silence was confirmation. Deborah leaned back. So what's the plan? He glanced at her. You should stay away from me until this is fixed. She raised an eyebrow. You mean run? I mean stay safe. And leave you to fight your ex in a city full of drama alone? Not my style. He sighed. You make everything difficult. She grinned. That's my charm. Later that night, Unbai sat in her penthouse, swirling wine in her glass as her assistant reported. The investors are still with him, but the harbor delay is costing millions. Unbai smiled thinly. Good. Let him drown in paperwork. And the girl. Unbai's eyes sharpened. She's loud. Loud women make easy targets. 2 days later, Deborah was in Gangnam's high-end boutique with Zarya on video call. Zarya screamed through the phone. Bestie, you're trending globally again. For good or bad, half the people love you. The other half want to study you. Deborah laughed. Then I'll sell them the syllabus. She turned, holding up a red dress. What do you think? Zarya whistled. You'll kill him in that. Perfect, Deborah said. As she paid, she noticed a man across the street taking pictures of her. When she looked directly at him, he hurried away. Something inside her chilled. She dialed Jun Hyuk immediately. I think someone's following me. Where are you? Gangnam Avenue. Stay where you are. Within minutes, his car pulled up. He stepped out, coat flaring, face cold as marble. The photographers vanished instantly. She raised an eyebrow. Wow, you scare people better than pepper spray. He opened the car door for her. Get in. On the drive back, silence hung between them. Finally, she said, This isn't just gossip anymore, is it? No, he said quietly. It's war. At the mansion, the atmosphere shifted. Extra guards patrolled the grounds. The windows were locked, and Min-suk doubled security routes. Deborah hated the tension but refused to cower. She danced in the living room to loud Afrobeat, ignoring their worried looks. When Jun Hyuk passed by, she grabbed his arm. Come on, move a little. He froze. I don't dance. She pulled him anyway. Then learn. Consider it therapy. He resisted at first, stiff as a statue, until her laughter broke him. Slowly, awkwardly, he moved with her, half embarrassed, half amused. There, she said. See? Still alive. He looked at her, a rare softness flickering in his eyes. You make it hard to remember why I built walls. Maybe you built them too high, she said, breathless from laughing. I just climbed over. Hours later, when the house quieted and the music stopped, Jun Hyuk sat alone in his study staring at a folder Min-suk had just delivered. Inside were photos of Unbai meeting someone from customs, proof of betrayal. He closed the folder and looked out at the sleeping city. So it begins. In the guest room, Deborah lay awake, scrolling through headlines that still danced between praise and poison. She smiled faintly, whispering to herself, "They'll talk anyway. Let them." Outside, the moon bathed the villa in silver light. From somewhere beyond the walls, a camera clicked again in the dark. Proof that someone was still watching. The morning sun spilled through the tall glass windows of Jun Hyuk's mansion, but it brought no warmth. The air inside felt heavy, too still, too cautious. Every footstep echoed like an alarm. Deborah woke to the faint hum of voices outside her door. Guards murmured instructions. Someone paced in the corridor. The tension had grown overnight. When she walked into the living room, Min-suk stood near the grand piano, speaking urgently into his phone. He stopped mid-sentence when he saw her. "Good morning, Ms. Deborah." She folded her arms. "Morning? Doesn't sound like one." He hesitated. "There's been another leak." Her eyebrows furrowed. "What leak?" He turned the tablet around. On the screen was a headline splashed across every news outlet. Deborah and George, the real identity behind the scandal. Illegal immigrant or gold digger? Her heart skipped. Beneath the title were old photos, her student visa from Korea, screenshots of her first apartment, even a photo of her in a cafeteria uniform. All twisted to look like evidence of deceit. "Where did they get this?" she whispered. "Someone is feeding tabloids everything," Min-suk said grimly. "And they've also filed a complaint to immigration." Before Deborah could speak, Jun Hyuk entered, his expression unreadable, but his eyes carried fire. "I already made a few calls," he said. "You're safe. They won't touch you." She swallowed hard. "It's Eun-bai, isn't it?" He didn't answer. Instead, he set his phone down. "I'm handling it." She stared at him for a long moment. "No, you're protecting me. There's a difference. You can't handle someone like her by playing quiet." He turned away, fists tightening. "You think I don't know that? But if I hit back publicly, it looks like guilt. And if you stay silent, it looks like defeat," she said. "You built an empire, Jun Hyuk. Don't let a bitter woman write your story." For a second, he said nothing. Then a small, dangerous smile crept onto his face. "Maybe you're right." By afternoon, the mansion became a war room. Reporters camped outside the gate, drones hovered overhead, and hashtags exploded online. Deborah watched from the balcony as Jun Hyuk met with his lawyers and PR team. They spoke in rapid Korean, frustration in every tone. When Min-suk passed by, she stopped him. "What are they planning?" He sighed. "Damage control. They'll release a statement denying everything." "Typical," she muttered. "Safe, boring, predictable." That night, while everyone strategized quietly, Deborah did something no one expected. She went live. She sat on her bed, wearing a simple white shirt, no makeup, her braids loose. The camera's red light blinked. "Hi, everyone," she began softly. "I'm Deborah and George. I've seen what's being said about me today, and I want to tell you the truth myself." She smiled faintly, but her eyes were steady. "Yes, I came here as a student. Yes, I worked in a cafeteria. I cleaned tables, saved coins, and sometimes cried when my phone bill came. But I didn't come here to hunt anyone. I came to build something." She paused. "People love to call women like me gold diggers. Maybe because they can't imagine us shining on our own. But I didn't steal success. I became it." Within minutes, comments poured in. Some praised her courage. Others insulted her. But the view count climbed fast, 500,000, then 1,000,000. Meanwhile, downstairs, Jun Hyuk saw the notification. His team panicked. "Sir, she's live. You must stop her before she..." He raised a hand. "No, let her speak." Eun-bai watched the live stream from her penthouse, her jaw tightening. "She's turning sympathy into strength," her assistant murmured. Eun-bai's nails tapped the glass table. "Then let's see if the public still loves her when they see who she really is." She opened a file folder. Inside were altered screenshots, fake bank transfers, and a forged email implying Deborah had manipulated her way into Jun Hyuk's company. "Send this to the press. Tonight." The next morning, Seoul was chaos again. Headlines screamed betrayal. Anonymous sources claimed Deborah was a con artist. One even suggested she'd used witchcraft to control Junhyuk. When she stepped outside her room, the staff avoided her eyes. Even the maids whispered. The mansion felt colder. She walked into Junhyuk's office and dropped a newspaper on his desk. "They're saying I hexed you now." He looked at her quietly. "People always fear what they don't understand. And you? Do you believe them?" She asked, voice steady but sharp. He stood, walking around the desk until he was inches away. "I've seen how you fight. You don't need witchcraft. You are the storm itself." Her lips parted slightly, surprised by his tone. For a moment, silence pulsed between them. Heavy, magnetic. Then Min-suk rushed in, breaking the tension. "Sir, the prosecutors want to question her about the documents." Junhyuk's calm broke. "No one is questioning her without me present." Hours later, they arrived at the government building. Flashing cameras, endless reporters, chaos everywhere. Deborah stepped out of the car, shoulders back, chin high. Her confidence was armor now. "Miss Njorich, did you lie about your visa? Are you controlling Mr. Kong? Do you plan to leave the country?" She ignored every voice. Junhyuk walked beside her like a shadow. Silent, protective, dangerous. Inside the building, they met a young officer who looked nervous to even speak to them. This is just a formality," he stammered. Junhyuk's cold gaze made him sweat. "It better be." The questioning took hours. Deborah answered calmly, her composure never cracking once. Every word was clean, confident, and real. When it ended, the officer said quietly, "You're free to go. There's no evidence." Outside, as they returned to the car, she finally let out a shaky breath. "That woman is trying to bury me alive." Junhyuk opened the car door for her. "Then we dig through fire." That night, Deborah sat on the balcony again, staring at the glowing skyline. For the first time, she felt something new. Not fear, but fatigue. A deep, heavy weariness from fighting a world that refused to understand her. Then Junhyuk joined her, carrying 2 mugs of tea. He set one beside her. "You've been quiet," he said. "I'm tired of proving myself," she murmured. "I stand tall and they still call me trouble. I breathe and they call it ambition." He looked at her for a long moment. "Then stop proving. Just live. Let them drown in their own noise." She turned to him. "And you? You'll stand there with me when the world points again." "I already am," he said softly. The words hung between them, gentle but powerful. Below, thunder rumbled in the distance, the kind that warned of another storm coming. But Deborah didn't flinch. For the first time, she smiled faintly and whispered, "Let it come." The moon that night was too bright for peace. It cast silver light over the mansion gates, where 3 unfamiliar black cars rolled in silently. The guards didn't stop them, they couldn't. Those cars carried a symbol every man in the underworld recognized. A golden serpent wrapped around a sword. Inside the mansion, Deborah had just finished dinner. The chef had served something delicate and expensive, but she barely touched it. Her appetite had faded weeks ago, ever since the world outside turned her name into a battlefield. Junhyuk sat across from her, silent as always, swirling his wine. But tonight his silence felt different. "Why do you look like a man waiting for bad news?" she asked, breaking the quiet. He didn't look up. "Because I am." She frowned. "What's wrong?" He finally lifted his gaze. Dark, heavy, unreadable. "Someone from my past wants to see me, and they don't make friendly visits." Before she could respond, Min-suk appeared at the door. "Sir, they're here." Junhyuk rose slowly, his chair sliding back with quiet authority. "Keep her inside," he said. Deborah stood too. "Excuse me? Keep who inside?" "This isn't your world, Deborah." "Well," she snapped, stepping closer. "You dragged me into it the day your guards carried me out of that party like a stolen handbag. So, surprise. It's my world now." He stared at her for a beat, jaw tightening, then sighed. "Stay behind me." They walked out together into the main hall. The front doors opened, and 5 men in black suits entered. Their faces were tattooed, their eyes sharp. The one in front, tall, silver hair, cruel smile, was Jean Taemin, once Jun Hyuk's brother in arms, now a rival. Well, Jean drawled, glancing around the gold-trimmed mansion. The ghost of Seoul's Mafia finally lives like royalty. And who's this? His eyes shifted to Deborah. She didn't flinch. I'm the reason this ghost started breathing again, she said flatly. A dangerous chuckle spread across the room. Min Suk's hand twitched near his holster. Jun Hyuk stepped slightly in front of her. Watch your mouth, Jean. Jean smirked. Relax. I didn't come to fight yet. I came to offer a deal. He walked slowly, circling the room like a shark. You left our world, Jun Hyuk. But you left something behind, $20 million of dirty money. The people upstairs want it back. I burned it, Jun Hyuk said simply. Jin's smile faded. Then you owe them your blood. The tension cracked through the air like thunder. The guards reached for their guns. Deborah's heart pounded, but she didn't back away. You're seriously threatening him in his own house? She said sharply. You've got guts. Or stupidity. Jean turned to her again, amused. You talk too much. And you breathe too confidently for a man standing on another man's carpet. She fired back. The men behind Jean laughed nervously. Even Jun Hyuk's lips twitched for a second. But Jean didn't like being mocked. His smile vanished, replaced with cold fury. He took a step closer to Deborah. Pretty face. Shame it'll be gone soon. Before anyone could blink, Jun Hyuk moved, lightning fast, his hand gripping Jin's collar, slamming him against the wall. You touch her, he said in a low growl, and I'll end you before your shadow hits the floor. Jin's men raised their weapons. Jun Hyuk's guards mirrored them instantly. The mansion filled with the metallic click of safety locks being released. Easy, Jean rasped, smirking despite the pain. You've changed, brother. 10 years ago, you wouldn't have protected anyone. Jun Hyuk's voice stayed calm, but his grip tightened. 10 years ago, I was dead. He shoved him back roughly, and Jean straightened his suit, chuckling darkly. Fine. Keep your woman. Keep your mansion. But the past doesn't forget, Jun Hyuk. You'll see me again. He turned, motioned for his men, and left. The moment the doors shut, the silence was deafening. Min Suk exhaled slowly. Sir, this means war. Jun Hyuk nodded. I know. Deborah crossed her arms. And what exactly does that mean for me? It means you leave Seoul, he said immediately. Excuse me? You'll go somewhere safe. I'll handle this. She let out a short, humorless laugh. Safe? You think I survived public humiliation, fake scandals, and death threats just to run now? No, baby. If they're coming for you, they'll find me standing right there beside you. He stared at her, proud, angry, terrified all at once. You don't understand. These men don't play by rules. Then they'll learn new ones, she said. Mine. For a moment, he said nothing, his jaw working as if he was fighting 100 thoughts at once. Then, finally, he said softly, You'll get me killed, Deborah. She smiled faintly. Or I'll keep you alive long enough to remember what living feels like. That night, the mansion transformed again. Bodyguards doubled. Windows tinted. Vehicles lined the driveway, ready to move at a moment's notice. Jun Hyuk stood by the balcony, watching the city glow beneath him. Deborah joined him quietly, wearing his oversized shirt, her hair tied up messily. You shouldn't be here, he said without turning. She leaned on the railing beside him. You shouldn't be alone. For a moment, silence. Then, in a rare confession, he said, When I lost my power years ago, when my body failed me, I thought I was cursed, that the universe had taken everything because I didn't deserve anything pure. And then you touched me, and it was like the world stopped punishing me. Deborah looked at him, her voice softer now. Maybe the world didn't punish you. Maybe it was just waiting for me to arrive. He turned then, fully, eyes dark and fierce, and for the first time his mask cracked. He looked human, haunted, alive. He stepped closer. She didn't move. His fingers brushed her cheek, tracing the curve of her jaw. You shouldn't love a man like me. She smiled. Then it's a good thing I never listen. The wind outside grew stronger, whipping through the open balcony doors. Far below, the city shimmered beautiful and dangerous, like the two of them. Inside the mansion, Min-suk watched from the hallway, phone in hand. A text flashed on his screen from an unknown number. Phase 1 begins tomorrow. Target, Deborah. He froze. The storm had officially started. The city never slept, but that night Seoul felt haunted. Rain hammered the glass walls of the mansion as lightning flashed above the hills. The storm that Min-suk feared had finally arrived. Not one of nature, but of vengeance. At exactly midnight, the security system failed. One by one, the lights went out. Inside, Deborah was asleep on the couch, curled up in Jun-hyuk's jacket. The faint hum of thunder made her stir. Then she heard it. Footsteps. Heavy, quiet, wrong. She sat up fast, eyes wide. June. No answer. Another step. And then another. Before she could scream, a gloved hand covered her mouth. Her world blurred. She fought, kicked, scratched, but the man was strong. Too strong. Something sharp stung her neck, and the world went dark. By the time Jun-hyuk returned from his secret meeting downtown, the mansion was chaos. Guards were bleeding. The floor was a mess of shattered glass and rain. And on the wall, written in red spray paint, was a single message. Phase 1 complete. His blood ran cold. Where is she? No one answered. Only Min-suk dared to step forward, trembling. They took her, boss. They took Deborah. For the first time in years, Jun-hyuk's control shattered. His voice roared through the mansion. Find her. Deborah woke up in darkness. Her wrists were tied, her mouth dry. The faint sound of dripping water echoed around her. She was in an old factory, the kind that smelled like rust and ghosts. A spotlight flickered on. Jean Taemin sat on a metal chair in front of her, legs crossed, smiling lazily. You're quite the storm, aren't you? She glared at him. You must be really insecure to kidnap a woman just to get attention. He laughed softly. Still have jokes. I like that. He stood, walking around her slowly. You made him weak. Before you, Jun-hyuk was untouchable. Now he's human, and that's your fault. Deborah smirked. Maybe he just remembered he has a heart. Something you wouldn't recognize if it slapped you. Jin's smile vanished. He slapped her, hard enough to sting but not enough to break her. You'll regret that mouth. Deborah tilted her head, blood on her lip. Maybe, but not as much as you'll regret touching me. At that moment, headlights flared outside. Engines roared. Jean turned sharply. What the? Gunfire exploded across the compound. The walls rattled as bullets tore through the metal. Deborah's eyes widened. He's here. Jean cursed, drawing his gun. That idiot actually came alone? He didn't get to finish. The steel doors burst open. Jun-hyuk stood in the rain, soaked, furious, his black coat billowing like smoke. His men fanned out behind him, guns raised. But his eyes, they were locked only on her. Let her go, he said, his voice a low growl that could freeze blood. Jean smirked, pressing his gun to Deborah's head. One more step and she dies. Jun-hyuk's face stayed stone cold. Then we both die tonight. The air thickened. Thunder roared outside. Then everything happened at once. A guard shouted. A gun fired. Deborah ducked. Jun-hyuk lunged forward, disarming Jean with one brutal swing. The men fought viciously, fists cracking, metal clanging. Jean grabbed a blade from his boot and slashed, grazing Jun-hyuk's shoulder. He didn't flinch. He grabbed Jin's wrist, twisted it until the bone snapped, then pinned him to the floor. Deborah, still tied, kicked a loose metal pipe, sending it rolling toward him. He used it to knock Jean unconscious. Silence fell, only the rain hitting the roof. Jun-hyuk turned, panting, his chest heaving. His hands shook as he cut her ropes. Are you hurt? She looked up at him, smiling weakly. You look worse than me. He actually laughed, hoarse and breathless. You never make this easy. He lifted her into his arms. Let's go home. They drove through the night, neither speaking. Deborah leaned against him, exhaustion sinking deep. His hand stayed on hers, firm, protective. By dawn, they reached the mansion again. The storm had cleared. The sky blushed pale gold. Inside, the air was calm, too calm. Deborah touched his arm. You saved me. He looked down at her. No, you saved me first. She smiled faintly. You always say things like that when you're tired. I mean it, he whispered. You made me want to live again. She reached up, brushed his cheek. Then live. Even if I'm not there tomorrow. He frowned. Don't say that. I have to, she said softly. This life of yours. It's fire and shadows. And I'm not built for hiding. He stared at her for a long moment, realizing what she meant. You're leaving. Tears glistened in her eyes. If I stay, they'll keep coming for me. You know it. He didn't speak, just held her hand tighter, as if that could change fate. Hours later, as the sun climbed higher, a car waited at the gate. Her bags were small. She never needed much. Min-suk stood nearby, pretending not to watch. The guards lowered their heads respectfully. Jun-hyuk walked her to the car himself. Neither spoke. Finally, she turned to him. You'll be fine without me. He smiled faintly. You're lying. She laughed softly through her tears. Yeah, I am. He leaned in, kissed her forehead gently, the kind of kiss that says thank you and goodbye. When she got into the car, he didn't stop her. He just watched as it rolled down the hill, disappearing into the misty road. Back inside, the mansion felt colder than ever. Her perfume still lingered in the hall. Her laugh echoed faintly in his memory. Min-suk walked in quietly. Boss! Jun-hyuk turned to the window, eyes distant. Tell the men, he said. No one touches her again. Not even fate. He watched the sunrise alone, a ghost once more. But this time, a ghost who had known love. And somewhere miles away, in a quiet cafe. Near the Han River, Deborah sat with a steaming cup of coffee, looking out at the morning light. Her phone buzzed. One message. No name. Just words. The storm is over. You were my calm. She smiled, soft, bittersweet, and whispered, Goodbye, my Mafia.
Hello besties, in this story we learn that true healing doesn't always come from medicine or power. Sometimes it's awakened by love, courage and connection. The black woman's fearless confidence reminded broken Korean mafia boss that even the coldest hearts and weakest bodies can come alive again when touched by a genuine passion. Love can awaken what pain once silenced. Thank you so much for watching. Kindly like, subscribe and share.